To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, style and grace, style and grace. To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, style and grace, style and grace. To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, style and grace, style and grace.
Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy to be exact, was a great experience. I like to say I was born in BK and raised in Harlem. My 20-block radius was like its own microcosm, filled with block parties, music blasting from cars, burning wax for skelly tops, the smell of cookouts from the neighborhood parks, Albee Square Mall, kids playing outside, knock knock zoom zoom, sidewalks filled with chalk outlining hopscotch games, champion jackets, fights over JanSport strings and Jordans, running home from the Major League basketball games, the performances at the basketball games, rapping on my stoop with Jay Hitch, double dutch tournaments, dancing contests, blimps writing in the sky, the music. It was so much culture. I pretty much had a lot of freedom to dream big, a whole world to explore. Can I ask you a question? Was I important to you? To choose me instead of choosing your husband after all the things he did to me. He molested me. Do you understand that's why I left home? You made me choose. I have to get this out. Because this has been holding me back so much. Because I had been keeping it secret, she was no longer here to say what I needed to mask the darkness. I had to do it on my own. In the midst of all the wonderful experiences, great relationships, friendships, that reoccurring feeling always seemed to peek through. I started to pay attention to when it happened. What was I going through when these feelings resurfaced? When I stopped for a moment within this fast-paced world and truly thought about it, I realized it was the past disguising itself as love. It kept showing up as these periods of depression, or as a sadness within my relationships. It was like I was afraid of something. I kept running away from something. And I was continuously thinking I didn't need to remember the past because I was functioning. I was working. I was in great relationships and people loved me. However, it was like clockwork. When my feelings were taken to an uncomfortable place, the past came back. I had to accept the truth that this was directly related to the relationship with my mom and a past full of pain. It also consisted of my feelings about my abuse and the shields I still had up from childhood. How I was dealing with things wasn't working anymore. I had to find a new way. In life, I was either anxious, overthinking future plans, or depressed, overthinking the past. Rarely was I living in the moment. Always preparing for my future, but at the same time, running from my past. I have gone through life facing my challenges, experiencing new things, falling in love, learning and growing, becoming more spiritual, and living life. In the midst of all this, I was avoiding the core. A pain that I had experienced affected me more than I acknowledged. I needed to heal. I had to finally deal with all the things I was hiding and running away from. I needed to heal that inner child that was abused. Things started to change, and I had developed too much restriction already by not changing as well. I wanted to feel better, but I didn't want to deal with the thing that caused my sadness, why I suffered from depression, why I didn't feel good about me. It was just too painful. It was like opening a can of worms, not knowing what was in store. I didn't want to deal with it. But not dealing with it was preventing me from truly moving forward. I love the secret.
I gotta find peace of mind.
I was sexually abused by my stepfather, my mother's husband, my sister's father. And my mother chose to stay with him, knowing what happened to me. One time during the routines, the abuse, I was faced with the ultimate decision. So it happened, same as usual. He violated me, I told my mother, and he left. But this time, he may have been gone longer than before. 4 or 5 days instead of 2 or 3 days. My mom asked me, "What do you want me to do? Do you want me to tell him to not come back?" This was the first time I made the decision to put someone else's feelings before mine. Something that would affect my happiness and steal my joy for a very long time. I basically put myself last and chose to endure sexual abuse and pain so that my sister could have her father and my mother could have her husband. But what about me? My mom is sad and most likely feels horrible. I felt like I was bringing pain to my mother and sister. I had to be like 10 or 11, experiencing such a tremendous thing. But wow, in one case, did I have that much power? On the other hand, I saw my sister in pain because she wanted her dad. Then I saw my mother frustrated and wanting her husband to return. Those emotions from my mom and sister took precedence over my feelings. So I told my mom he could come back.
One, two.
Grace.
Check me out right here, yo.
I had several gifts of grace. I had grace in music, I had grace in friendships, I had grace with love, and grace in each day to heal. We are all given many gifts of grace. You just have to pay attention to recognize them. Once I was able to clear out my hoarded house of all the baggage I carried from 35 years of life on earth, I could finally see all the wonderful things about me. I was blaming myself for a decision I made at 11 years old. I wasn't that child anymore, and I had the chance to free myself from a past that was hindering me from truly being happy. It was like I had a clean slate to create whatever I wanted to. I am a new person, a person who could heal the wounds and really be free. I found my truth, and I faced my fears head on. Fears of not being loved because I revealed the secret. Fear of not being included in my family because I was the one who caused discord. Fears of truly being who I was and standing in my power because my light may have been too bright for others. God's opinion of me makes man's opinion irrelevant. Tim Story. Passion. I couldn't rely on old gimmicks and tricks to get me through anymore. I had to become an individual with a deeper meaning to life. I had to find my passion. Your passion is something deep inside you that you are truly confident about, but the fears overshadow. The fears are put in place to keep you from your passion because your passion is directly connected to your purpose. Your passion is your heart, and you follow your heart to reveal your purpose. That's how I see it. It's like everything magically appears within you. It feels good, and it becomes super clear. Our lives are just that precious, each and every one of us. Let us lift ourselves to our highest height. Let us shed ourselves of all the circumstances set to misrepresent who we truly are. Let us rid ourselves of all the pain we keep inside. I learned that instincts and intuition are very important and aren't the words usually said when people are describing their journeys or struggles. You usually hear about how much strength it took or how much someone believed in the person and gave them a chance. But instincts and intuition are super important when one is elevating or moving from one level to the next. All you have is your intuition. It's something no one can take from you or tell you is not real. Given the opportunity to get over your pain is a chance to change and face your fears. Take it. Learn about you and the catalyst to why you do all the things you do. Recognize your gift of grace. Discover what it is you truly want. Discover you. It's a process you must know. By you receiving this book, that confirms you are on the road to victory. Open your heart and mind and make your focus you, as I did. If you thought about your life as a movie you were directing, the plot is the abuse, the challenges and the reoccurrences. The climax is the survival and the healing, ridding yourself of a past that keeps you within the quicksand. Let's make this an Oscar-winning movie. Our lives are just that special. You have begun the process of unlocking your gifts of grace. As you see, grace is happening all around us. We only have to quiet the world to recognize them. Let's get started. But of course, let's heal in style and grace.